welcome to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Erin. I do all things yoga, wellness, fitness, all the things. I just created my own YouTube. I'm super excited about it, so welcome. I wanted to take today to really just dive into my story as to why I got into yoga, how I got into fitness, holistic wellness, all of the great things. So I will start at the beginning. I am from Southern California. I grew up here. I am the youngest of 4 girls in my family. So yes, I have 3 older sisters. And before you say what I know you're thinking, my dad is super lucky to have all of us. The common thing that we always hear is, oh gosh, your poor dad having all girls. Well, he's never complained once, and he's the happiest, most amazing dad anybody could ever ask for. At a very young age, probably in my early 20s actually, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it is a inflammatory bowel disease that infects the colon. It can infect a lot of different parts of your intestines. I was about 23 maybe, 22, 23 when I was diagnosed with that. And for a young woman at that time, it was not very popular. There were no medications. Like you see stuff on TV all the time. That was not a thing. It was very not well known and not talked about. When I was diagnosed, especially at that young age, I wanted no part of it. I wanted nothing to do with it. I didn't want to accept that I had an illness. Excuse me, something's in my eye. I didn't want to accept that I had an illness and that there was going to be something that I had to deal with for the rest of my life. They put you on horrible medication, on steroids, on remission meds. I did everything under the sun, and I just never liked the way that medication made me feel. If anybody has ever been on steroids before, it is not a fun experience. It messes with your hormones, it messes with your cortisol levels. You can gain weight, you become very, very moody. Side note, I once was on it for so long, for a period of time. I want to say I was on it for at least like 6 months by that point. I full on had the worst road rage of my life, and I growled at somebody through my window because he wouldn't let me merge on the lane with him. So yeah, steroids are very, very undesirable. Definitely did not want to accept that I would have to be on and off of these medications for the rest of my life. Part of me, I don't think I was really in tune with it then, but a part of me always knew, like, I refused this to be my life sentence, that I'm gonna have this forever, I'm gonna have to deal with this forever. A part of me always questioned that, and a part of me always was like, no, I'm gonna live my life, I'm a young woman, this is not going to affect me the way that everyone says it is. The diagnosis was very hard to accept. I was a young woman in my early 20s, wanting to drink, wanting to party, wanting to go to Vegas, and all the things that all my friends were doing and that all my sisters were doing, and I just wanted to ignore it. So I kind of did. I didn't take my medicine the way I was supposed to. I would eat whatever I want. And they say that this diagnosis, that ulcerative colitis, is due to stress. And I was in my early 20s. It's like, what kind of stress could I have possibly had? So I had all of these different questions. It was just a very hard reality that set in. And at the time, because like I said, they didn't have main medications, there were no ads on TV for any of this. It was like 6 pills 3 times a day, or maybe it was 3 pills 6 times a day. I don't remember exactly, but it was pill after pill after pill after pill. Ridiculous. Some of the medications that I was on made me sick. I had to miss a few things, and even just miss a few things from not feeling well. Because it's a silent illness, people a lot of the times don't believe you that you have something. You look fine on the outside, and internally you're in so much pain and just trying to survive day to day. So that is my physical health part of it. I did a job at an all-women's gym, worked at the front desk, did all the scheduling and all of that fun stuff, but I would always see the trainers come in and out, talk about how much they loved helping people and seeing everyone's transformations and making relationships with the women. I realized, like, that's something that I might be able to do. So I put my mind to it. I took my test through Total Woman, for anybody out there who knows what that is, and I passed. So I became a personal trainer at Total Woman in Brea at the time. It was such a great experience, just like I said, being a part of the transformation of all these women and being a part of their story. That's kind of where my love for fitness started, just really seeing how much of an impact you can make on someone's life. From there, I got a certification in spin, which I never taught one spin class, but I wanted to get that under my belt as well. I was too afraid, I think, back in the day to really teach in front of a bunch of people. One-on-one was a lot easier for me. After that, I had a few jobs in between, and then around 2015, I started working at a functional medicine company in Irvine. That's when I really started to dive into holistic wellness. I think with my background of all of my own health issues that I had had, really helped tie in all of the holistic wellness aspects that I was learning. It really tied it in together. It made sense to me finally, like, wow, there are other things that can help besides all the medication I've been on. Disclaimer, which I must say, because I don't want to claim that I'm a doctor, which I'm not. I'm not a holistic nutritionist. I have no nutritional degree at all. I am just basing this off of personal experience, personal knowledge, and what's worked well for me. So like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but this is what's worked for me. Because I worked in customer service, I had to learn every single thing about the products, like the ingredients, how all the ingredients work together, what part of the body they work on, what ailments they help. And learning that and going through all of that training, sorry, we have the trash man right outside if you heard that noise. Going through all of that training really just was it was like nourishing to my mind, to my body, just to know that like there are other things out there that have helped. I would hear customers on the phone talk about how much these products had helped them. And even to the fact where we pulled some products and we would get phone calls from patients like, why did you get rid of this? Like this works for us. Like, you know, so I really got to hear feedback from patients and doctors, since we sold directly to doctors and chiropractors and nutritionists. I would hear from them as well, how much they worked for their patients. It was encouraging to know that this company was doing a really good thing and getting more holistic nutrition and wellness out there, and it's really helping people. And I used some other products, and it honestly really helped me with some gluten sensitivity issues, and I never was on really the protocols that they would call for, but I did test out some other products and they were really great. And I definitely saw an impact. So at that same time that I had that job, I was in one of the worst flare-ups that I'd had probably ever. It had moved to like a different part of my colon. The medicine I had taken before was not helpful, and I just was stuck in it, and I didn't know how to get out of it. On a side note, my stress level was off the charts. Remember that story I told you about how I growled at the person? Well, it was during this time. I was living in Diamond Bar, commuting to Irvine. For those of you who don't know, without traffic, it's not a big deal, but in traffic, it was well over 2 hours to get to work, well over 2 hours to come home from work. My whole life was traffic, working, traffic, going to bed. I had zero time for myself. I didn't know anything about self-care back then. I was just constantly on the grind, constantly working. I was running my body into the ground, if I could be honest with you. I needed relief, and I didn't know where to turn. I didn't know what to do. And one day, my friend Meredith, shout out girl, hit me up one day and said, you know, I go to this yoga class. Would you want to come with me? So I said, sure, why not? I was never the same again. My life was completely changed. I felt this wave of calm come over me. I felt like I could breathe through my body, breathe really through my pain, and get breath to areas that were struggling. I can't explain it. It just completely transformed my life, and I just wanted to keep going. Whatever that was that I found in that class, I needed more of it. After that experience, I looked up yoga studios, and I discovered that there was one right across the street from my work called Cafe Yoga. I stumbled in there one Friday night for a candlelight practice. I was the only one in the class. It was a studio that had just recently opened. Again, so transformative. I wanted to keep going back there. It changed to another level, changed my life and my experience through yoga. Just being at that studio, there was something so special about it when I first walked in there. So special that that's actually where I did my yoga teacher training, was through Cafe Yoga. A few years later, it was right after I got married, so 2017, Kim actually came to me and said, I'm doing a yoga teacher training. You know, would you be interested? I think you'd be great at it. And every cell in my body was like, no, I would never be good at it. What would I have to offer people? I could never get up in front of all those people and do any of that. It's so much knowledge. I could come up with every excuse in the book as to why I would never be a teacher. It would never work out. One day my husband just said that exact thing. You know, you're always going to find an excuse or a reason not to do this, and it goes for anything in life, not to do what you want to do or not to do what gets you to the next step. You're always going to find excuses. So why don't you just do it? You're healthy. You haven't had a flare up in a while. Like, just do it. What's the worst that can happen? And it was the best decision I ever made. Yoga teacher training was even more transformative. And on a side note, if you have ever thought about becoming a teacher, obviously go through yoga teacher training. Even if you don't want to teach, I suggest that you go through a yoga teacher training anyways if you're into yoga, because it is so transformative. It will transform your mind, your body. I mean, things that you once thought were so absolute and true. I mean, everything's just, your world's turned upside down, but in a good way, in a cleansing way. I can't speak highly enough about it. So if you have the chance, if you have the means, if you have the time, and you think it's the right time for you, you're called to do it, I would just say do it, because it was the best decision I ever made. One of the most beautiful experiences that I've ever had. I've made so many relationships, still relationships that I have today, even though we're not all teaching at the same studio. It was a beautiful experience. So I became a teacher in 2018 and started working at Cafe Yoga, which was such a beautiful full circle. I first started loving yoga there. I did my teacher training there, and then I got to teach there, which was just magical. And I just felt like I was so much at home in that studio. With yoga, not only was it transformative for my mind, my body, but it was transformative for my health, for my stress levels. And I really do attribute my yoga practice to helping to keep my stress, my ulcerative colitis under control. I don't get very many flare-ups. I'm not on remission medication. I also take very good care of my diet, what I eat. I do drink alcohol. I definitely don't drink as much as I used to, because I know that it's not good for your body at all. It's basically a poison that you're putting in your body. Through diet, wellness, more holistic practices that I take, I really do, like I said, believe that it has helped to keep my ulcerative colitis under control. That is my journey. That is my story from how I was a little girl in Diamond Bar to now a woman teaching yoga into health and wellness, living with ulcerative colitis, but also managing my ulcerative colitis and not letting it run my life. As that young 20-year-old, that's what I thought it was going to be. And I know that it is that way for a lot of people. And I'm not going to sit here and discredit that and say, oh, if you do X, Y, and Z, you're magically going to be healed. I'm not even healed. I still have it in my body, but it's how I manage it that helps me. And I, like I said, I'm aware that there are so many people who have to have surgery and who have to be on these crazy medications and steroids and biologics and all of the things to help manage their ulcerative colitis. And I do acknowledge that, and I just wanted to say that. Cut to now, I'm a yoga instructor. Like I've said, I'm going to be sharing yoga videos on my page. Hopefully you've taken one or two already. So that's my story. I hope that some part of it resonated with you. If I could even help just one person through teaching a yoga class, either in studio, online, then I've done my job. And that will make me so content and so happy, because I've gained so much help from yoga. I've gained so much help from meditation, and I want to be able to do that for everyone else. So I hope that you have a beautiful day. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.